I really can't believe that last episode, no one pointed out to me the danger that I was in. Remember when I was farming for resources to get a gate to secure my base? Well, right overhead was this Griffin, and it was too close for comfort. But, you know, we dodged that bullet. Who knew? Remember when my hatchet broke? I thought I was just farming in a relatively safe location. I'm not sure that's accurate in hindsight. The hatchet not only broke, but I almost lost my life here to this rock drake. Yeah, that was close. Okay, back to episode 2. Hey, hi, how are you? Vadd here. We are in the big farming base building episode. In this episode, we are going to make sure that we have a secure location and dive a little more into the Docs Handbook. When you open up your Docs Book of Smart, the first page you probably want to go to is labeled Starting Out Hysteria. It's going to have a couple of recommendations for where you want to start out, and it recommends spawn in a location known to be fairly safe. This is a great advice. I know you're the all-pro Ark Survival Evolved player, and you want to spawn into the murder snow or the desert. Just spawn somewhere safe. It is dangerous enough on this beach without having to worry about the environment to start off. Avoiding the potential conflicts with large predators is also an optimal way to start out. That's a good rule of thumb in most survival open world games, but this isn't just Ark Survival Evolved. We're also playing with the DinoOverhaulX mod, and this mod is pretty intense. Right now the beach looks relatively safe, but I'm always a little cautious as I come in to our home base because it's been getting a little rough. I've got an Allosaurus out front. Okay, that's kind of a large carnivore. We can deal with that. We can fly. But we also have a T-Rex, which is not optimal for our survival. And rock drake? Yeah, it looks like he dove off the top ledge and... Okay, check. Allosaurus, T-Rex, rock drake. Yeah, I'm further thrilled that we picked this base location. I don't think they're aggressive. I'm gonna need to get spyglass. I'd like to check out some of these levels. I also need to fix my gate. There's a Dimorphodon out here. It could fly in. I know this cave doesn't really look like much right now, but we're off the ground, which should hopefully help in our survival. And the rock drake wasn't able to follow us into the cave off the top of that ledge, so this is a fairly safe location. I'm gonna build here a feeding trough. I really like this building. When you put down a feeding trough, you put down the resources inside, and then if you have a couple of tame dinos, they can eat from the feeding trough, not just their inventory. It just helps with base management so that as we're trying to progress through the Docs mod, I don't have to go, did those guys eat or not? Did they have spoiled meat in their inventory? Are my herbivores low on berries? When we start out, we start in a safe location, and the second step we want to be looking at is to be getting a passive tame that's going to help us progress, something to either collect berries or move around. We went with the Pteranodon, and that Pteranodon is how we got to our base location. So far, if you were to have loaded up Ark and downloaded the Docs mod and followed our path and opened up the Docs book, you would see that step 1, spawn somewhere safe, and step 2, get your first tame. We have successfully accomplished that, I think, here in our second episode. I know it's getting a little tough outside. I'm running a mod called Cement Mixer. It changes the base ingredients for cementing paste. Cementing paste normally only needs 2 ingredients. With the Cement Mixer, it needs 3, but those ingredients are generally a little easier to find early in the game. I don't know if it's really balanced for PvP play, but as a solo player, it works out pretty great. Again, I'm using the S+ mod for building. Auto-leveling these foundations across this bumpy floor is just fantastic. by building in this cave for my initial base, not only do I have some safety from being off the ground, I also have a load of resources in here where I can go out of the base to farm up some wood and thatch, and I can pretty much build a good majority of the base based off the resources that I'm able to collect from inside this cave. So I recommend, if you're going to be playing on the Dox mod, to go to your favorite cave and build in there. In addition to having resources for me to build with and help me progress while in a relatively safe space, by being in a cave, there's less things that can spawn inside my base. If I were to build out on the beach, I would need to... I'm going to try and put a few foundations here. There's that Omega Rock Trick. I think it's an Omega Rock Trick. I think that's what they're called. Yeah, that's modded. 11,000 health, that's a little much. Omega Carno. Okay, so that's that boss tier. The awesome spyglass there shows it's red, so it's aggressive on us. I just wanted to put down a couple of foundations on my doorstep here so that in the offset chance something spawns, it's not going to spawn right on my door. He can't get up here. This should be fine. Wow, that's a lot of health. So we build in a cave because we don't want things to spawn inside our base or fly in over top of our walls into our base, so that we have some safety. This is exactly what I'm talking about here. I don't want to cut down these rocks right now because they provide a little more security, or that's how I feel at least, but I do want to close the doors. These doors, they have 12,000 health. That Mega Carno is going to run right through them. If you watched my raft building video, you would already know what I'm doing here. If you haven't, feel free to check that out if you want to learn more about how to build on rafts. By putting these foundations here, I'm hopefully encouraging things not to spawn right on this ledge. Man, I think I really need to get rid of this Mega Carno somehow. Oh. Okay, there's my first official death in the series. Mega Carno is now our arch nemesis. If we have an opportunity later on to hunt down a Mega, we should target that guy. Oh, this was a mistake. So I left these rocks here because I thought if something chased me in the cave, I could fly over them maybe, or my beds would be safe. You know, nothing would jump these rocks, but now I'm stuck because my flyer's on the other side because I was going... Okay. Modern problems, modern solutions. I can make some stairs. I can jump my way up. This is fine. Okay. Back to the Mega Carno. He's our nemesis from now on. If we see that guy, we got to get that guy. We're not there right now, like we discussed in the episode 1. The Mega dinosaurs are essentially the highest tier boss below the Titans. So that's a pretty late game, end game, maybe mid game, depending on your perspective. I'm glad that he killed me though. There are some dinos that will stay aggressive to you in this mod for a very long distance. Remember in last episode I talked about how, hey, I have 600, 700 health and 250 armor. But don't think that I'm that overpowered. I'm not the baddest, most dangerous thing on the island. Yeah, that's true. As you saw here, I got one shot. I really would like this Mega Carno to go away. In Dox, there are some creatures that when you get them aggressive towards you, they will chase you across more map than you would think possible. Yeah, 500,000 health. That's just a lot. That's a lot of health to deal with. I think it hit me for a little over 2,000. I'm really going to need to get my own tames once we get our base secured. There's some creatures that will stay aggressive onto you for a portion of the map that you are not prepared to handle. You will think that you are out of render distance and they are still chasing you down. So there's some times where I'm saying to myself, hey, I'm going to start a box here for implants. If I die, I'm going to put my implant in that box just as a way to look back and keep track of how we're progressing. So far, 2 episodes in, 1 death, we're at our starter base. I feel like that's reasonable. That's a respectable number. Yeah, 2 episodes, 1 death. Yeah, that's good. So by having a Mega Dino aggressive towards me or some of the other modded creatures, sometimes it's better to get yourself in a relatively recoverable position and let them kill you once to turn off their aggro. That might change in future updates. Maybe that's just superstition. Who put this bird here? Ugh. But either way you swing it, by building in the cave, we not only can control what can come in and out through a small gap. I have no idea how that Carno jumped that ledge, because that ledge to get the cliff to get into this cave is taller than the Carno. There must be a rock down there that it's got some boosted speed it could just fly up off of. I'm gonna have to maybe clear out a few of those rocks to help make sure that the cliff edge is truly a cliff. Who put this bird here? Man. So maybe it's just a Dox theory, a Dox myth, a Dox legend that they'll stay aggressive to you for long distances. But for the sake of safety and my sanity, it's not aggressive to me right now. We're in our cave. Hopefully we're safe. And it didn't come through the door and destroy everything that we hold most dear. That being all the building we've done. This cave, as we've been clearing out, you can see it's a lot bigger than I initially thought it would be. I've gone 30, almost 40 foundations in both directions. This is plenty of room to not only have our first base and main base of operations in, but it's plenty of room to house our dinos and our crafting area. I mean, this is super exciting. I think it's time to go out and see if we can't get our hands on another Pteranodon, and we're a little low on wood and thatch, and I wanted to farm this obsidian here so it has a chance to respawn. This time when I came out of the base, I flew straight up. That way, if the Carno is down there, hopefully he doesn't blow me up. So far, so good on not getting blown up by that Mega Carno once again. Once we finish off our base, we're gonna want to be moving into looking for some apex dinos. Remember, in the tameable dinos, you have the vanilla art creatures, and the next tame up in the Dox mod is the apex creatures. Those apex creatures are going to be stronger. They're going to be a little more versatile in some of the things they can do. And there's this blue RG over there. I'd like to get an RG at some point, but right now the Pteranodon's really serving me pretty well. I'm here in the Ragnarok map, coming up on Viking Bay. You can spawn right at Viking Bay. I spawned a little off of Viking Bay, making it a little harder to find my initial starting location. I would also like to get one of these apex Pteranodons. See this Pteranodon, it's level 100, that's good. It's got 400 health, that's good. I think these apex Pteranodons are a little... Is that a T-Rex? Yeah, this beach, there's 2 T-Rexes. Three. Okay, there's a T-Rex gang here. I want to be in the T-Rex gang. Actually, no, I want to get a bigger T-Rex, and I want to be in charge of the T-Rex gang. I didn't know it would invite me into the T-Rex gang. Okay. Well, level 110, it's pretty beefy. 2,000 health. These are things we can't fight. As you could see, to put some perspective though, this Apex Pteranodon has 2,000 health and it's level 850. So that vanilla art creature, that Pteranodon was level 100, 100 plus, and it had less than 1,000 health. That Apex Pteranodon was about 8 times its level higher and had substantially more health. So that would be good to get our hands on. We're keeping our eyes open for an Apex Dodo. We're gonna need to get ourselves a number of Apex Dodos to progress through the Dox mod, as well as some Apex Dilos. This is the same little stretch of beach I've been farming in. It's on the other side of the rock gang. I'm sorry, the T-Rex gang. It's on the other side of that rock formation, so I should have a little bit of time. I'm keeping my eyes open to defend myself from those T-Rexes. And I like the colors on that Pteranodon. We really got to get an Apex Pteranodon. That 1,000 health, 320 melee damage or percentage. Yeah, those would be a tame we want to get our hands on. We tried the Bolo one last episode. With the Spyglass, I can confirm that the Apex Pteranodons are a knockout tame. They can't be bullet. Maybe they can be chain bullet, but I think I'm going to be able to Tranq it out pretty quick. The Dox mod has some advanced Tranq bullets that I recommend you work your way towards gathering those advanced rifle bullets. But we don't have a gun yet. We don't have bullets yet. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but as a part of the mod, can you see that Dillo over there? That's not an apex Dillo. It's just a little too small. The apex creatures seem to be a little larger, just physically actually larger than the, maybe it is. No, that's a regular Dilophosaurus. It's level 150. I mean, I don't want to fight it, but it's certainly not the apex Dillo that we need to progress. With the apex creatures, they seem to be visually a little bit larger. I don't think their colors are necessarily any more exciting than the ARK dinosaurs, but we need to tame some of those. That apex Tranq, I think we'll be able to Tranq out, and the mod has some Tranq bullets built in that'll help us deal with the advanced difficulty of these higher level dinos. Another Allosaurus, an Allosaurus pack. Okay, I don't know if the T-Rexes will fight the Allosauruses or vice versa. Maybe they just get along. I would like to build on this cliff here or something. I think this is high enough out of aggro range that unless something's flying around, I should be pretty safe. I don't know. Let's see if this T-Rex... Oh, he's aggressive. So with the awesome Spyglass mod, they have this red outline when they're targeting you. I find it super helpful. You don't have to have the super Spyglass mod. Okay, so we've got our Pteranodon. We've got some more resources we can't gather inside the cave. Maybe I can snag this green Pteranodon. Remember, the vanilla ARK creatures in the Dox mod are mostly passive tames. So I am not going to need to bring any Tranq arrows or spend time on narcotics. I can continue to progress further into the mod without having to sacrifice my time trying to, man, I really want to tame this Triceratops to gather some berries and maybe help guard myself a little bit. No, I can just continue to progress. If I can get this Pteranodon to follow me, let's see if we can survive into the base. It has been getting a little tough around here. T-Rexes, Allosauruses, that Omega Rock Drake, the Mega Carno. It's gotten kind of tough, but we are fairly safe in our cave, and we are in. Okay, this has been very successful. We have more resources to continue putting down foundations, and we have a second Pteranodon. I can't get into this cave without some climbing grapples or a flyer. It's really is pretty far off the ground. As we build in this cave, you're gonna say to yourself, where are you gonna put the garden? Well, in ARK, you can put a garden inside of a cave. You will not get the greenhouse buff. Do not waste resources building greenhouse materials. You will need to irrigate it, as it does not get the rain in the cave. Some caves in ARK, you do get a little bit of rainfall in them, and you can hear it, but that's more of a glitch than a sure thing. Don't assume you're going to be getting rain in your cave. You're not. So you're going to need to irrigate your cave. The Dox mod has a fantastic structure. It's a big water tower, and that water tower is going to allow us to irrigate wherever we are, however we want to. It's going to do the hard work of tunneling down into the earth and getting the water up and putting it in a reservoir for us to build pipes out of. I think I'm going to breed up my Pteranodons here. Instead of going out to tame a third one, I can keep building, and I'm going to be able to just hatch a Pteranodon here so that if I need a flyer, you know, let's say I'm out doing something and I get killed, but my flyer escapes, but to get back to where I was, I need to be able to fly over there. I've got two Pteranodons, but what if things go terribly wrong and I need a third Pteranodon? I think this will be maybe a little more time efficient. I've actually sped this up quite a bit. You know, I know it's not the most exciting thing to see a loading bar load, but I do want you to see the progression of how we went from on the beach almost naked, certainly afraid, into we have a little bit of safety in our cave. We now have some metal smelting, we've got beds down, we've got some storages, and we've got some flyers. We are off the ground, and I used the furnace here to keep the egg warm, so I didn't build any extra fires. And I'm going to make a tragic mistake here, and I didn't realize this at the moment, but it turns out that that lovely feeding trough doesn't work for the small ones. So see, the name says baby Pteranodon. Yeah, the babies can't eat from the feeding trough. I really need to get my hands on a nanny. The nanny is an S+ structure. It's just going to put food in the infant's inventory, which is again going to help me as a solo player progress, because instead of standing here for hours on end making sure nobody starves to death and gets the care that they need and deserve, I can be out continuing to gather resources and tames for my tribe to progress. When we're in the Docs mod and we're in our Docs handbook, we're going to see we want to spawn in a safe location, we want to get our first tame, and we want to get those apex dodos and apex Dilophosauruses, those apex dillos. And I never told you why. Well, a big part of this mod are the pygmies, and we haven't seen a pygmy yet. When we get to a pygmy, I will be sure to point one out, and we will of course have a pygmy taming episode. The pygmies require treats. Yes, they're greedy like that. Those little pygmies love their treats, and a key ingredient in those treats are not dodo eggs, they are apex dodo eggs, and those pygmies love to become stronger, to evolve, to be better versions of themselves. And for that, they love their treats. They need a treat that has a base ingredient of an apex dillo egg. I really can't believe that I was so close to finishing this and I was just almost out of resources every time. I wish my crafting was faster. I dumped a lot of points in crafting, but these are the last few foundations. You can hear it's raining in the cave right now, but there's no water. My water is not refilling. This is going to be where we end this episode. We had our first death to our first boss creature. We have a little safety, and I'll see you next time. Peace. If you learned something or enjoyed this video, share it with a friend. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. If you have joined and enjoyed before, welcome back. If you would like to see more quality content, please consider joining me in supporting the channel through Patreon and utilizing the affiliated links. Thanks!